Standby signal number 3 as a tropical storm passes south of Hong Kong, while a super typhoon is on its way to the region.
Hello, good evening. The observatory upgraded the tropical cyclone warning signal from number 1 to number 3 shortly after midday as tropical storm Barijat passes by the region. At 7 p.m, the storm is 160 kilometers south-southwest of Hong Kong and is forecast to move west towards western Guangdong. While the observatory says it is unlikely to issue storm wind signal number 8, it expects adverse weather and rough seas this weekend. That's as Super Typhoon Mangkhut moves quickly towards the coast of Guangdong. Haley Zhou has details.
Kids were kept out of schools after the Education Bureau issued a class suspension announcement just before 10 a.m. This concerns kindergartens and schools for children with special needs. This parent wished the suspension would have come earlier as they kept checking if the standby signal number 3 was issued after they got home. Tropical storm Barijat inconvenienced tourists too. The Ongping 360 cable car, a popular tourist attraction on Lantau, suspended its service until further notice. As Barijat moves west towards the coast of Guangdong, strong winds, squally showers, and thunderstorms are expected tomorrow. While sunny periods are in the forecast for Friday and Saturday, that might not last long as there's a super typhoon on the way. Now over the western North Pacific. Mangkhut is expected to be closer to South China this Saturday and move rapidly towards the coast of Guangdong.
As the circulation of Mangkhut is large, also with intense winds, it poses a significant threat to the coast of Guangdong. Although there are still uncertainties in its track, we forecast that Mangkhut will bring severe weather to Hong Kong on Sunday. We expect there will be frequent squalls and heavy rain. Seas will be very rough with swell.
Due to heavy rain accompanying Mangkhut, low-lying areas may see flooding or backflow of seawater. Cathay Pacific and Hong Kong Express made arrangements for travelers who booked the flights to and from Hong Kong between the 16th and 18th this month. While passengers can rebook, reroute, or refund tickets for free, the specific requirements and periods may differ between the airlines. Haley Zhou, TVB News.
Well, many are comparing Super Typhoon Mangkhut with Hato, another super typhoon that left parts of the city in a mess last year. Residents of Hung Fa Tsuen in the Eastern District were especially hard hit by flooding during that storm. Are they prepared for something potentially more serious this time around? Sharon Tang tells us more.
It was like a complete lockdown here at this Hung Fa Tsuen car park. Any like trying to enter it using the staircase. There was simply no way for car owners to get to their vehicles. In August last year, Super Typhoon Hato, packing winds of up to 185 kilometers per hour, prompted the observatory to issue the number 10 hurricane signal, the highest tropical cyclone warning. The storm surge brought by Hato also raised water levels. A year later, this car park, which was flooded last year, has had precautionary measures stepped up. Sensors are in place to alert caretakers when the flood water exceeds certain levels. Pumps have also been set up with sandbags holding its pipe in position. This resident said an ineffective drainage system was to blame for frequent floods at Hung Fa Tsuen during typhoons. Eastern District Councillor Stanley Ho agrees. Hung Fa Tsuen is one of the MTR's property developments. Ho said the MTR Corporation has a duty to maintain the housing estate in good shape. He said among the property owners whose vehicles were damaged in last year's floods, only one has received compensation from the MTR. Sharon Tang, TVB News.
In nearby Macau, the signal number 3 remains in effect, but there's a medium chance that Barijat could trigger a higher alert tonight. Authorities are also warning of serious threats from Mangkhut, the storm potentially stronger than one that claimed 10 lives there last year. Hato left a path of destruction in Macau last year. It was the worst typhoon to smack the enclave in more than 50 years. 10 people lost their lives, 200 more were injured. While still recovering from criticism of slow response and poor governance during Hato, officials today called on people to remain on guard. Not Barijat that's on track to bring thunderstorms tonight, but Mangkhut. As an officer from the Macau Meteorological and Geophysical Bureau explains, the signal number 10 is possible when Mangkhut gets closest to the city. That's the highest warning given when the center of a tropical cyclone carries winds with sustained speed exceeding 118 kilometers per hour. Mangkhut's wind speed already exceeds 200 kilometers per hour. Authorities tried to offer words of comfort, citing more safety drills have been conducted than before, and speakers to blare out evacuation warnings for low-lying areas have been put in place. Officials also said the People's Liberation Army in Macau stands ready to help with relief work upon the SAR government's request and central government's approval. PLA soldiers helped clean up the streets in the aftermath of Hato.
And now to a powerful storm in North America. Preparations continue as the US East Coast is bracing for what could be the strongest storm to hit the area in decades. More than 1 million people have been ordered evacuated as Hurricane Florence is expected to hit late on Thursday or early on Friday. Alan Buckner reports.
Packing winds of more than 220 kilometers an hour, Hurricane Florence is expected to grow stronger as it heads towards shore.
This storm is a monster. It's big and it's vicious. It is an extremely dangerous, life-threatening, historic hurricane. That's why I'm ordering a mandatory state evacuation for our barrier islands.
Florence is expected to bring a storm surge of as much as 4 meters, causing catastrophic flooding. A steady stream of vehicles full of people and belongings flowed inland. Some 80 Apache helicopters were evacuated from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and moved to safer ground, and a fleet of fighter jets in Virginia was moved to Ohio. Homes and businesses were being boarded up.
Coastal flooding, storm surge, high winds, anything that's not, nailed down or connected together flying into the building.
Those choosing to stay behind prepared for power outages. In this store, customers started lining up at 5:30 a.m. for a truck carrying 200 generators.
We're all waiting for generators, waiting for that storm to hit, need some power for the house.
So we're out of gas cans. We also have more gas cans coming in, but those are the first things that left when the storm started coming was generators and gas cans and extension cords.
In Washington, U.S. President Donald Trump was briefed on preparations by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA.
The safety of American people is my absolute highest priority. We are sparing no expense. We are totally prepared. We're ready.
Trump has declared states of emergency for North and South Carolina and Virginia in anticipation of the storm. Alan Buckner, TVB News.
British media reports suggest Prime Minister Theresa May could face a leadership challenge as early as this week. Around 50 lawmakers from May's Conservative Party are reportedly plotting a bid to oust her from power over her handling of the Brexit negotiations. Many of these lawmakers are unhappy with her so-called Chequers plan to keep key aspects of Britain's economy in line with the European Union, even after the UK leaves the trading bloc in March. These lawmakers favour a clean break from the EU, even if that means crashing out of the bloc without any deal agreed.
Brazil's imprisoned former president Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has ended his legal battle to run for the top job again. Lula stepped aside to allow his running mate, Fernando Haddad, to run for president in next month's election. Lula had been the most popular candidate, but recent polls show Haddad's supporting rising. But he doesn't have Lula's name recognition and lags behind some of his 13 rivals for the presidency. Lula is serving a 12-year sentence for a graft conviction, which he says is politically motivated. He's been barred from running for president because of the conviction. And still ahead tonight. 1 million Catalans rally for independence in Barcelona. KMB plans to add seatbelts to all its buses. And a fatal accident on Shackle Road.
Welcome to our lounge. Enjoy your stay.
Thanks very much.
Find calm in over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. It's another way we've got your back. The Platinum Card from American Express. Don't live life without it.
Welcome back to TVB News. Around 1 million people filled central Barcelona yesterday to celebrate Catalonia's commemorative day. The rally was meant to boost support for independence from Spain. It's an issue which has left deep divisions roughly a year after a referendum was held, only to see its results crushed by Madrid.
Red and yellow Catalan flags rolled into Barcelona from the countryside. Pro-independent supporters in red t-shirts bearing the slogan "Let's build the Republic" chanted and sang in the streets. Tuesday's huge turnout was a response to a call from Catalan Regional President Quim Torra and his predecessor Carles Puigdemont to show continued support for independence from Spain. Puigdemont fled to Brussels last October after Madrid dismissed his government for holding a controversial independence referendum. The September 11th Diada celebration marks the fall of Barcelona to Spain in 1714. It's since been adopted by activists as a way to rally support for Catalan independence. Yesterday's rally fell just over a year after Puigdemont's administration held a referendum and made a unilateral declaration of independence. Madrid responded by dismissing the government and the referendum, citing the plebiscite's illegality. At the rally yesterday, Torra and other attendees wore yellow ribbons representing 9 politicians and activists awaiting trial for their role in the independence bid. Their trials are expected to start later this year, a potential new source of tension. Divisions over the question of secession are stark in the region. A July poll showed 46.7% of Catalans saying they wanted an independent state, while 44.9% did not.
A selected group would get to take high-speed train from West Kowloon Station to Guangzhou even before it enters service. Chief Executive Carrie Lam today sent out invitations to the September 22nd event. The opening ceremony kicks off at 10 that morning, complete with a train ride to Guangzhou South before returning to Hong Kong. The Saturday event takes place a day before the 26-kilometre local section of the Guangzhou-Shenzhen-Hong Kong Expressway link opens to the public. Installation of seatbelts on all KMB buses is now underway, with the priority going to vehicles operating on long-haul routes. That's what the bus company told the panel that's reviewing franchised bus services in town. Caleb Long has the details.
Another day of hearings for the government-commissioned independent committee to review franchised bus services, and today's topics include safety and drivers' welfare. KMB's management said it is planning to install seatbelts across its entire bus fleet by 2019. Priority will go to around 1,000 buses running long-haul routes. The company has around 4,300 buses in total. KMB's managing director Roger Lee noted that seatbelts are already available on all new buses purchased since March this year. The bus operator said the government is so far positive about subsidizing the seatbelt installations. Today's hearing also covered the problem of a lack of restrooms for drivers at the 217 bus termini used by the company. For 100 termini, bus drivers have to use nearby facilities such as shopping malls. Even newly established termini, such as the ones at West Kowloon Station and Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, do not have fixed restrooms for drivers. The committee was set up after a Route 872 KMB bus flipped over on Tai Po Road in February, killing 19 people and injuring 65 others. The committee was set up to review the operation and management of local bus franchises. Caleb Leung, TVB News.
A local court slapped a teenage youth with an 18-month probation order for carrying an air gun near the Legislative Council. He was heading to take part in a protest outside the LegCo building before his arrest last December. Caleb Leung has more.
An 18-month probation order. That's what an Eastern Magistrate Court magistrate gave Lau Hong for carrying an air pistol near the Legislative Council building. Lau was arrested on December 12 last year as a protest was being staged against proposed changes to LegCo's rules of procedures. The police found an imitation firearm as well as plastic pellets inside his bag. The 16-year-old was found guilty last month of one count of possession of imitation firearm. In mitigation, the defense said Lau is a disciplined person who understands the seriousness of his crime and urged the court to consider imposing a probation order. Magistrate Veronica Heung noted in her sentencing that this is a serious crime, as evidence showed Lau could shoot his air pistol if he felt his safety was at risk. But Lau did repent when being remanded for 3 weeks in custody. The court also considered that Lau is at a relative young age with no criminal record. The magistrate decided to sentence Lau to an 18-month probation order, believing that Lau is unlikely to reoffend if he was supervised and underwent counseling. Caleb Leung, TVB News.
A motorcyclist died after his vehicle collided with a truck in Shek O. The incident happened at around midnight on Shek O Road. The motorcycle reportedly went out of control and collided with a truck moving in the opposite direction. The 37-year-old motorcyclist sustained serious injuries and was confirmed dead upon arrival at Pamela Yude Nethersoul Eastern Hospital. Another motorcycle driven by a 27-year-old man then bumped into the motorcycle in the front. Both the truck driver and the 27-year-old motorcyclist sustained minor injuries. And that's the news.
Thanks.